Hi, Phyllis here from southernfrugal.com. This morning I'm going to go ahead and make some more dinner rolls. This time I'm going to make them in a great big jelly roll pan. We really super like them. They freeze fantastic. When you take them out of the freezer, thaw them out a little bit, put them in the oven, warm them up, you'd think you just made them. They really keep that well. So this is the same recipe that's used for the holiday cinnamon rolls. It's the same recipe that's used for the orange rolls, only you don't put a filling in it. So it's real simple. So I thought I would just do it again, and maybe if I load up enough of these on the videos, I'll have people write in and say, oh, I made those dinner rolls. So it's really not that hard, okay? So here we go. All right. Now I went ahead and scalded my milk in the microwave. It took probably right at 2 minutes till it just gets a little skim on top. And I do that to kill the enzymes. Now I had a subscriber write in and say that maybe the enzymes were killed when the milk was pasteurized, and I'm not sure about that. So I'm just going to go ahead and scald it, because you have to warm it up anyway. So to this 1 cup of whole milk that's been scalded, I'm going to add 1/2 of a stick of butter, which is 1/4 cup. Now the butter is cold, so I really want this milk to be cooled down to about 110 degrees so it doesn't kill the yeast, because too hot will definitely kill the yeast. Alright, to the milk mixture I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 cup of sugar. Now, I'm just going to stir that around, get that sugar dissolved in that hot milk, and let that butter cool that milk down. And it will cool it down. Alright, now you want to heat 1/2 cup of water, and this is distilled water or filtered water, so you want to get the chlorine out of it, because that also will kill yeast. And to that I'm going to add 2 sort of heaping teaspoons of active dry yeast. And I just put my yeast in a cleaned out peanut butter jar and keep it in the freezer. And I do get this in bulk from King Arthur. So last January this was all the way full, and so that's how much I've got left. So I usually order one pack of this in January of each year. Now I've got my heating pad over there, and I've already got it turned on, and this is just a regular heating pad that you get at the drugstore, to put on sore muscles or whatever, and that just works great to let the bread rise on in that warm area. Alright, so I'm just going to stir up my yeast and get that dissolved in the water. Now I did not put any sugar in this for them to feed on. It's just right in plain water that's filtered or, distilled water, some that doesn't have any chlorine in it. So I'm going to just mix that up. That ought to do it. And we'll set that right down on my heating pad to keep it warm, and let the yeast multiply a little bit in that water. Alright, so now what we have to do is wait for our milk to cool down to about 110 degrees. I just use a regular meat thermometer to check it, but I can tell it's still too hot. So we're just going to wait for that, and we're going to also need 2 whole eggs, and these are large eggs. And I just go ahead and break them out, put them in a bowl, sort of let them get to room temperature, because you want to make your yeast happy. So, let's see if I can cool this down while we're talking. I decided to go ahead and do I guess we'll call it a vlog. The grandchildren were here, and the oldest son and his wife Arlene were here for Thanksgiving. They stayed with us for 5 days, which was great. I think that might be the longest they've ever stayed with us, other than when we went, and had a beach house down at Edisto Island. anyway, we talked about doing that this summer, so I hope that'll work out, because they've got, one son is at the Naval Academy in Annapolis. He's in his second year there. And then William, the second son, is getting ready to go off to college, so this will probably be his last summer that he gets to spend, because he'll probably be doing the thing where you go around, working, I forget what you call that, internships and stuff like that. And of course, Benjamin is in junior high school, and Bella is still in grammar school, but she's going to be going to junior high school before long. So anyway, it was really sad when they left. I cry a little bit, and it takes me a couple of days of being a little depressed about it. And then, Mr. Buck and I get okay after that. So it's been a couple of days. They left to go up to North Carolina to do some hunting. I already read on the Facebook they didn't really get anything on Friday. I don't know if they got anything yesterday or not, but they were going deer hunting. So anyway, I'm sure they had fun up there. So now they're probably fast on their way back to Germany, and they're going to get stationed somewhere else, and I think they'll find out in February where they're going to be stationed. I sure hope it's in this country rather than in a foreign country again, because it's really hard for them to come back, to visit when they're so far away. But anyway, so now we're just really sick of turkey. I know y'all must be the same way. I can't stand leftover turkey. I really cannot tolerate it. So anyway, I'm going to fix a chuck roast today with some potatoes and carrots. I think I've already done a video on cooking the chuck roast, but anyway, I decided to go ahead and fix regular dinner rolls and do the full 24. Alright, I think I've talked my way through this milk mixture cooling down. Let's see. It's about 110 right now. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and dump this into our bowl. And we're going to go ahead and dump these 2 whole eggs in. Beat that up a little bit. And see how this really doesn't take long at all, because actually when you're letting the rolls rise, you can be doing something else. Or reading a book or whatever, watching TV. In my case, I like to watch YouTube videos. Other people's, not my own. I have to watch mine just to go through and make sure everything's okay. And before I get all the way through it, I'm really sick of looking at myself. I really am. But I do like to watch other people's videos a lot. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and add our yeast, which is foamed just a little bit. That's what we wanted. We didn't want to put any sugar in this part of it. Go ahead and dump that in. Mix that around a little bit. Alright, so now we're ready to add the flour. Now, I want to talk to you about that. I ran out of the gold medal flour. I used it all on the orange rolls and the cinnamon rolls, and it's really good, I'll have to say that. Gold medal bread flour, it's great. And so now I had a bag of the King Arthur bread flour. So that's what I'm going to use for these rolls, and there's probably not that much difference in it, but right now I'm leaning towards the gold medal. It really made those cinnamon rolls super, super good. So anyway, now we're going to go ahead and add the flour. Now this is 5 1/4 cups of bread flour, and you measure it straight from the bag. You don't sift it or anything. So we're going to dump that in. Dump probably, I don't know, maybe 2 1/2 cups in. And now we want to mix it with the whisk. And what we're doing, of course, is developing the gluten in the flour. And really the reason you use bread flour, what makes bread flour, is because there's more gluten in the flour. So the more you mix it and move it around and stretch it, the loftier, let's put it that way, your bread's going to be. Light and airy. Alright, so we'll just mix that around with the whisk. And you could use an electric mixer right here if you wanted to. Mix that all up. And don't be worried about getting any lumps out. You're just really mixing it all together. Alright, so that's good enough. And now we're ready to start kneading it. So in order to knead it, we're going to need to put the rest of the flour in and of course use our hand. So I'm going to dump part of that in. Just kind of mix it up. Let me turn this down so you can see. A little closer. There we go. Alright, so now this mixture feels warm to my hands. And that's what the yeast love, and they also love your warm hand too. I know I've said that before, but I'll just say it again. So first thing you want to do is mix it all up, and you're waiting for the dough to come up into kind of a ball. So I'm going to add more flour in now. And just mix it up and turn. I just put my hand down in there and turn it. And this is just getting the flour mixed in with the wet ingredients, really. I love yeast bread. And it's interesting because my son, the oldest son, the one that was just here visiting, oh, he loves biscuits. So I did make biscuits, I think, once or twice while they were here. But the rest of the time we had orange rolls and cinnamon rolls and then these regular dinner rolls. Alright, so now we need to go ahead and put the rest of this flour in. And I have been known to use both hands for this. And you could do that. Because the yeast doesn't really care how you mix it up, just as long as you mix it. Alright, so it's sort of all come together now in one big blob, and we're ready really to start kneading. So we can just mix that all together and get it into a little round blob of or glob of dough. And now we're ready to start kneading. Now the kneading is going to take 8 to 10 minutes. And for those of you who haven't watched any of my videos before, I'll just show you how I knead it. You just pull it over, mash it down, pull it over, mash it down, and you just keep doing that. And pretty soon it'll get to the place where it looks like a big rubber ball, all smooth. So let's see, I'm checking the time here. So I'm going to knead this 8 to 10 minutes and we'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, we have finished kneading the dough. See how smooth it is? So we're just going to pinch the bottom of it together as best I can, really. And I have greased my bowl. I actually had to use butter this time because all my Crisco's gone from all the other cooking I've done. But butter's fine, or oil, but you don't want to use very much. Alright, so this is just to keep the dough from sticking to the bowl. So I'm going to put it upside down in the bowl and kind of roll it around a little bit. And that's to grease the top of it. Alright, so now we're just going to put some plastic wrap over the top of it, because we don't want it to get chilled in any way. Just seal that up. And now we're ready to put it on the heating pad. Now, I put in a little metal trivet that keeps it up off the bottom of the, keeps it off the heating pad directly. And then I just put pot holders on that because I don't want it to be a lot hotter on the bottom than it is everywhere else. I'm going to sit it right there, so we'll let it rise for, let's say, 45 minutes to an hour until it's doubled in bulk. And when that happens, we'll be back. Okay, our rolls dough has doubled in bulk. See how smooth it is? The way you know is you put your finger in it. See, I already tested it earlier. Put your finger in it, and if it doesn't, come back out, you know it's ready. So what we're going to do now is divide this dough into 3 parts, and I just use my scissors to do that. And try to get it into 3 even parts if I can. Right there, that ought to do it. 3 equal parts. Now I'm going to take one of those sections, see if I got it all the way cut, yeah, and just put it out on, this is a little plastic thing to roll pie crust out on. I think I got this at Walmart. So these are not going to be fancy because we don't have any more company. Not that we shouldn't do fancy just for ourselves. Can y'all hear my dogs at the back door? They want to come in. Let's see if I can get through this before I have to let them in. Alright, so this is 1/3 of the dough. Let me fix this so y'all can see. Come down a little bit. There. Alright. Now I'm going to divide this into half and just make an indention with my scissors. Half again. And then each one of these sections in half. So that's going to give me 8 rolls. I'm just going to take my scissors, going all the way down to the plastic, cut them, and try to keep your scissors straight up and down. Alright, so now I'm just going to, that one's got a little bubble in it. Kind of twist them towards the bottom. This one will be a little smaller. Now I'm putting them on this jelly roll pan, and I'm out of Crisco shortening, so I just put a little oil on the pan. So again, you want to just twist them to sort of make that top smooth, and just kind of pinch them around at the bottom. That's just so they'll be kind of rounded on top. But I'm not going to be real particular with these. I would be if we had company. I'd be a little more particular, but they'll still look good because when they rise up, they're just going to be rounded. So I'm going to, this cookie sheet's going to hold 24 rolls, and that's exactly what this recipe makes. So just sort of twist them around, get that top a little rounded, and we want to place them 4, this is a regular just jelly roll pan. I want to place them 4 deep on the pan. See, just kind of pinch them around to the bottom. I was going to put them on there just the same way they were when I cut them, but I changed my mind. Some of these are not exactly the same size, but that's okay. Doesn't matter, because once they rise up, they can be real rounded on top. See? There you go. Turn this back down so you can see me do that. Just turn them under until they get kind of rounded, because you're not going to see the bottom part, and it'll look fine anyway. And again, make them 4 deep on this. I think this jelly roll pan is probably 12 by 15. It's one of those thick jelly roll pans I ordered from Amazon from Norpro, I believe. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do these other 2 sections, and when we get back, I'll have them all done, and I'll show you how I let them rise in the oven. Alright, I've got all my rolls formed, and I'm just going to brush them with this is about 4 tablespoons of melted butter that's cool. You don't want it hot, you want it cooled. And just brush each one. This will also sort of help them come apart, because they're going to rise up all together, and this will help them to be able to be pulled apart once they're cooked. Alright, so now we're going to put this in the oven and we'll go over and have a look at that. Hold on a minute. Okay, we're letting these rise in the oven, and I'm going to leave that little oven light on, which will give a little heat. Plus I've got a pan of just hot tap water in there. I'm going to close this oven door. Don't look how dirty my oven is, please. And we're going to let them rise for probably about 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. And then I'm going to show you how I cook them. Alright, we'll be back. Okay, the rolls are ready, and I'm going to see if I can do all this with one hand. So I'm going to take the rolls out, take my water out, and I'm going to switch my racks because I want these rolls to cook on the bottom rack of the oven. Let's see if I can get that out. Just going to put that rack up on top, and this is a flatter rack. Doesn't have that little up section in the back. Now I'm cooking them on the bottom rack because I'm using this jelly roll pan, and it's got a very thick bottom. So I also had some of the extra butter left from when I originally put the butter on them, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the rest of that. I mean, it can't hurt, right? Yeah, just put a little more on them. This will make them good and brown on top, golden brown hopefully. Now I'm going to start these out in a cold oven. And the reason I do that is so it'll give them a little more chance to rise, and they'll be just a little lighter and fluffier. Because during that time that the oven's getting warm, see, that yeast will continue to reproduce and make the rolls real tall and puffy. Not that they aren't already that way. Alright, I think I've used all my butter. Let's get every last bit of it out. Alright. We're ready to put it in the oven now. So again, I'm doing this on the bottom rack because my jelly roll pan has a pretty thick bottom on it. Now if you're just using a regular pan, of course you would put it in the middle of the oven. I want to get a little more butter on that, right there. Alright, so we're going to bake these 375 degrees for 30 minutes or a little less, just depending on when they get good and golden brown. Alright, so when these get done, we'll be back. Okay, the rolls are all done now, and we're about ready to eat our lunch. Now I'm not going to taste one because they're way too hot, but let me see if I can pull one apart here and show you what they look like. And by the way, that extra butter on the top of them, I really can smell it. It smells great. Alright, let me see if I can pull that apart. Boy. There's what they look like, nice and brown on the bottom, see that? Nice on the top. All you have to do is put some butter in them and they're ready to eat. Alright, we will see y'all next time.